everybody. All right, so today we are talking about Resident Evil 9 that it just got announced, and this looks awesome. And if you already know, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, and this one today is just dedicated to us Resident Evil fans. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe, and let's get into it. All right, so look, there's a lot of speculation about this game, and there is so much that we're going to talk about with this new Resident Evil that just got introduced. I am excited about this, and I am pumped because honestly, this looks amazing. And finally, we have the official announcement. First things first, I'm gonna be honest. This came out of nowhere. This completely came out of nowhere, and I like it. I'm digging it, and this is how it should be. Good entertainment. You know what they're building up. This is actually, like it's giving me chills just talking about it because this actually looks really, really good. And if you're familiar with Resident Evil from back in the day, with Outbreak, this is something that's a nice Easter egg. And of course, we got the 30th anniversary that's coming up. This right here is we're being introduced to this new character right here, Grace. What's her name? Ashcroft, and she's the daughter of. Let me pull it up so you can see. She's actually the daughter from this lady right here, Alyssa. She's from Resident Evil Outbreak. So if you played Resident Evil Outbreak back in 2004, I mean, this right here is this game was ahead of its time because this is when they were doing what it was like. You could not live stream, but it was an online game and it was dope back then. Like it was just ahead of its time. And what Resident Evil was back then to what it's now, it's changed. The graphics have changed, the story has changed, a whole bunch of things have changed. But it's awesome because now we're being introduced to her daughter, and Grace, from what you're seeing, when it opens up, she's doing some type of investigation. Once I saw what she was investigating, I put it together and I was like, this has to be the T virus. And we already know, everything hell unleashed once the T virus like spilled all over Raccoon City. And it's just crazy, like how she's just looking into it, doing her research, and apparently it looks like she's working for like, like she's a journalist or some type of, editorial job. So she's like, and of course you can see that she's wearing, the she's working with the government. I'm gonna call it like they say it in GTA. She's working with the fibs, and she's cracking down on the case. She's seeing what's going on. She's probably doing this like on her own side, research and whatever it is, and that's pretty dope. She's finding these bodies that they have so many things in common with this unknown, disease, if you want to say. And come on, let's look at it. You're going back to Raccoon City. You're coming across these dead bodies, and you're finding all of a sudden that they have something in common. Come on, that's the G virus and the T virus. And of course, we already know what happens in Resident Evil 3. They completely destroy the city. And that, you can see this is the image from the new video. And back in the days when you played Outbreak, that's what they did, and it shows you from the citizens' point of view of what's going on in Raccoon City. While Leon and Claire are on the other side, Jill, all these events are all taking place at the same time, which is awesome. It's the same timeline. Resident Evil 2 and 3, they're both tied in the same timeline, and it's not that far apart. It's only a few hours within the same timeline that they're going. And of course, the government has to completely take out Raccoon City, and they completely annihilate it. And now with this new game that they're going and they're investigating, I'm gonna speculate a lot because it's just so much that we could pick from and we can enjoy from this. So this is actually something that's going to be very I like where they're heading. I like what they're doing, what they're setting up and stuff like that. And we can see how they give us a glimpse of Raccoon City along with what happens after. Because once this thing goes off and you see Raccoon City right here, you see the RPD. This is what remains after. Because when you play Outbreak, you see, like the aftermath of everything that happens. It's a quick glimpse. The camera just like pans away and you just see it. But we never go back and revisit. And you got to keep in mind, this is over 30 years We're talking about a long ass time. What has happened? Look, let's be real. This right here is giving me that, was it Chernobyl vibes, with that whole thing that went off with the radiation and all that stuff. And it's pretty wild. I like where this is going. This right here is Resident Evil. From this, it's like they're going back to their roots. And honestly, I like that. This is what we need. Yeah, I thought it was a new movie that they were working on, but then I was like, yo, this has to be a game. And, they didn't disappoint. And everybody's right now talking about this. This right now is just, this has completely taken everybody by surprise. And I like that. That's how they should be announcing these games, these movies, everything, this entertainment, just boom, out of nowhere. And you could see how, these are the after events of what happens, when Raccoon City is fully destroyed, and us going back to revisit it. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be fun. And from the trailer, you see that it looks like they're bringing back the zombies, and I hope that they do, because I'm gonna be honest with you, Resident Evil, what was it? Resident Evil, what the last one? 8. That wasn't it. Honestly, it just got too out of control. They had werewolves, they had vampires, they had all this dumb shit. I was like, that's not Resident Evil. It's always been about mutants and like the zombies and stuff like that. They got away from that for a while, and seeing where they're at now and going back to their roots, this is something this is very interesting, and I can't wait for it. I know a lot of us are waiting for it, and it's coming out in February, literally less than a year, right before GTA, because GTA 6 comes out in March, and then this game's coming out in February, like 27 or something like that. So this is gonna be good. Look, I'm being honest with you. I can't wait. I am really excited for this, and this is how you announce a game, and seeing everything from this reveal, from this trailer, there's so many things. Look, there's a part that you see when they show Raccoon, Raccoon City, and you hear somebody saying, "Oh, you haven't seen the shit that I've seen," or something about like that. I have a feeling that's Carlos from Resident Evil 3. And this would be a perfect way to reintroduce them. They're all older. Apparently, there's a leak going around that Jill's going to be in this game. And of course, Resident Evil 8 sets up, the return of Jill, that she's, with Chris and stuff. We already got Chris in the last game. So apparently it's supposed to be a big tie-in, with everybody. But let's see what's gonna happen. And, it would be nice if they bring back Carlos, because remember Carlos was working with USBC, what it was, Umbrella Biohazard Counter Service Measurement, something like that. And so he was with the bad guys, with Umbrella. And of course, we already know Umbrella is going to be involved in all this right here. You can't get away from Umbrella. There's just no way to really get away from it. And this is just exciting, honestly. And this is what the industry has been lacking. And it's good to finally see that they're going back to what the fans want. Like, it's like they're finally taking notes and listening to the fans, because this right here just caught everybody off guard. I was not expecting this, honestly. And I know we just had the one from what it was, the PlayStation, the state of PlayStation, whatever it's called, like sometime this week. I think it was like on Wednesday. And that right there was a letdown, honestly. That wasn't good. And I like what they did with this. There is some event right now, I can't remember which one's called, Gamescom or something like that. The whole point is that Capcom finally announced it. They were like, screw it, we're gonna announce it, and here we are. And yeah, everybody's right now like completely, like excited about this. I can't wait. Seeing this, this is incredible. This is truly incredible. They have so many things that they can do with this game. And look, Resident Evil, when it started, it was about zombies. It was about survival horror. It was about staying. The first game was about a mansion. The second one's in the city. And that's what Resident Evil was. Look, as a longtime Resident Evil fan, I've been with the brand of Resident Evil since the beginning of PlayStation, when nobody knew about it. Barely anybody knew about it. And it was just horror. It was scary. It was one of those games that's like, damn, like I want more of it. And it's amazing to see where we're at with this franchise. It's incredible, and this is dope right here. This really is amazing. The guy that's wearing that cloak or whatever the hell he's wearing, a lot of people are speculating, saying that could be Wesker. It could be, because let's not forget, in the last most recent Resident Evil 4 remake, Wesker comes out at the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if Wesker is going to be in this game, and it would be perfect to tie in things, you know. And not only that, we also need a Code Veronica. Now would be the time to introduce that game along, with Resident Evil 10. I mean, Resident Evil 9. I mean, there's so many things that you can still put together, and that would be amazing. And I'm excited. I really am. A lot of people are excited about this, and yeah, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan too. But they lost me as a fan. I'm gonna be real with you. At Resident Evil, after Resident Evil Code Veronica, the original Resident Evil 4, it just went downhill for me. I lost interest. It wasn't the same anymore. I played side games and stuff like that, but overall in the story, I was like, yeah, they're getting too off course. And look at what we got in Resident Evil 8. It just wasn't for me. That's why I'm glad to see what they're doing right now. That they're going back to their roots, to what survival horror is all about. And that trailer, it just brings that again. And it's like, damn, finally they're doing it right. It's like about time. Go back to what you started. Go back to Raccoon City. And I have a feeling, I'm just speculating, but all right, once that blast went off, in the city, let's be real. Can you really contain the virus? Can you really stop it? Not really, because you're gonna have strains still, you know, they're still gonna be floating around. Like, did it take everybody out? No, I'm sure that there's, like, probably more mutated liquors and zombies, and there's so many things that are out in the city that look at these buildings. They're standing. If they're standing, that blast really didn't take everything out. Like, what's to say that over here was a group of like mutants or whatever it is, zombies and people, and then they were infected, but this building blocked the effect and they survived. So going back to the city, Raccoon, there's so many things that can happen. This virus, you can't stop it. You just can't. We're already 9 games in to this whole lore of Resident Evil and everything. Just reintroduce it, or like make something with the T virus even much more crazier, because you can see on the trailer there's this, it looks like a mutated liquor, or like some type of, I don't know what it looks like, but it looks dope. It looks just like a liquor. And then you see that guy screaming that he looked like he's turning into a zombie. Is giving the vibes of Resident Evil 2 remake, when in the trailer you can see the guy like he's turning into a zombie or something like that. And it gives vibes to Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on the first PlayStation, when you see the people that are running in that opening scene, that the people are turning into zombies. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so these people are infected, and he looks like he's a cop and stuff like that. So if they tie this and connect it with Outbreak, and where they're moving forward with the new characters that they're introducing, like we've already seen, with Grace, she's going to be the main protagonist. Of course, we know Leon's going to come back. You have to have Leon. Jill's already going to be in the mix. Chris is going to be in the mix. That's already three of the OG characters. And then the new one that they're introducing, who knows what else is going to come from this. And let's just speculate. Like I said, in the trailer, when you see that shot of Raccoon, I think it was in this one where you see right here, somebody says in the background, there's two people you could hear. There's one that he's like, you haven't seen the shit that I've seen. I have a feeling that's Carlos, and along with that, I think he's talking with Leon, and they're just older versions of them, because of course time has passed and stuff like that. And this is interesting because, all right, we have this character Grace, and the mom of her, which is Alyssa, in this trailer what we're seeing, she died 8 years ago. So where does this story and timeline fall into play? See what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, is it falling in the events of Resident Evil 2 and 3? Because Resident Evil, what is it, 9? I mean, 8, it's completely like, I don't even know what happens in that game, honestly, and I don't really care about it. The same thing with Resident Evil 7. But it's just dope that they're connecting characters from the same brand, but from games that were in the past. So this is connecting the OG Resident Evil fans and the new modern fans, because there's going to be fans that are going to be like, oh, what's Resident Evil Outbreak? So now they're going to be curious, and they're going to want to go and check out all those retro games, and they're going to look into it. They're going to buy them. They're going to play them, all that stuff, just to catch up and see what happened in Raccoon City. And Capcom is doing this smart because they're like, all right, we're gonna have players and they're gonna want to go and relive that nightmare. Meaning they want to go see how it all started with Resident Evil. Then it's gonna move into Resident Evil One with the mansion, Resident Evil Two with the police station. Then you have Resident Evil Three Nemesis that's on the original PlayStation, and then they have the remake. So it's like fans are gonna interact with all that. You know, the new fans that haven't played any of the old one. This is going to be amazing. Like I'm Capcom is playing their cards right. They really are playing it very, very well. And I like what they're doing with this. You know, when they show Raccoon City, I was like, yep, I got a lot for a city. Hell yeah, I'm glad that they're bringing the city back. Honestly, you know, it's been a while. This is what I was saying the other day. I was talking with somebody, I don't remember where, and I was like, that's what Resident Evil has always been about. You know, it's like that's where the heart of Resident Evil is. Hello, my dude. This trailer got me hard. Hell yeah, this thing got everybody hard right now. Honestly, you know, and it's a good time. You know, like this just came out of nowhere, and I'm happy. I'm really happy. And the best part about it is that they even Capcom is like, yo, screw it, we're releasing it next year. And when you see on what platforms it's gonna be on, of course, PlayStation 5, and it's gonna be on Steam, but I didn't see a Nintendo logo. So to all the people that have Nintendo Switch 2, maybe I might get it. I don't know. Who knows? Probably it might happen, but you know, like who knows? Who knows? I know for sure I saw that PlayStation 5, and you know, I'm on board with that. So, you know, I don't really care about, you know, any other consoles or whatever. But to each their own. But this is gonna be nice, you know. It's nice to be a Resident Evil fan, and we're eating good, you know. Just with this is the first reveal for Resident Evil 9, and it's pretty dope how they did it. Like it just looks amazing on everything, and it's just so much. Like I said, to speculate on things, you know, from where it left off, because we're revisiting. Hopefully, it's just not a shitty flashback where it's like, okay, you know, it's just probably just to lure in the fans so they can be like, oh, it's Raccoon City and stuff like that. Who knows? You know, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself too much because I'm excited as a fan, and I'm like, you know what? It would be nice if it takes place in the after effects, if you want to say, of Raccoon City, and you know, we get to like go up against, you know, whatever zombies, mutants, whatever is left and is remaining in there. That's gonna be fun to go back and explore and stuff like that. You imagine going back to, you know, the police station after it's been all completely destroyed, just because, I mean, that would be fun, you know, and exploring other parts of the city itself. Oh, it's gonna feel like the Walking Dead type of thing, you know. It's just something about it where it's gonna be like, damn, like this got me really excited, you know. And it's like it has all the fans talking. I like that, you know. When I saw the RPD Arch, I said, no effing way. Is that a voice of old Leon? Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I was just saying. I think that's old Leon that we're hearing. And I think we're also hearing old man Carlos. I hope so. I really hope so, because all these years, where has Carlos been? We need him because we saw him in Resident Evil 3 with Jill. And after that, dude disappeared. You know what will be a mind twist if that would be interesting? Imagine the person that you see with the cloak and is just sitting there. It's either two people, either Carlos or Billy Cohen. Imagine if it's Billy from Resident Evil Zero, and dude's like under Wesker's control or something, like they did with Jill for Resident Evil 5. That she was like under, you know, the what it was. I think she was under Wesker, I think, or whatever, with that virus. That would be a twist. That would be nuts right there. And I'm for it, honestly. You know, if that was to happen, shoot, that would be nuts. You know, like that. That would be dope. What up, Ace? I see you. Appreciate you for watching. Um, are you a favorite common writer? Uh, I, I like some common writer, not that much. Like I'm not really up to that. I have a friend that he's really hardcore into that, but I do like them. You know, I like their costumes and stuff like that for what they are and stuff. So that's pretty dope. Nice, nice. 280. All right, cool, cool. Keep going, keep going. You'll get there. You know, here we are. So, you know, keep going at it. You'll get more subscribers in due time. You know, always wishing the best for everybody and stuff like that. So, some of the most legendary places in Raccoon City, bro. Leon sounded weathered. Yeah, Leon straight up sounds like. I mean, he's been going at it for years. You know, with Umbrella and working for the government. is like, damn, like what else are they gonna do with him? And like some people were speculating, and I was reading online that they're saying, what if Leon, he started as a cop in Raccoon City. He's been working with the government all these years just to go back to Raccoon City, and this is the end for him. You imagine that? I ain't gonna lie. It would be sad, but at the same time, I could deal with that. I would be like, I'm happy. You know why? Because Leon has given us so much as a character, and we know that these characters are not gonna be around forever. And sadly, in due time, I mean, their time has to come. And will he be going out, or will Chris be going out? Because let's not forget, Chris is an old timer right now, and yes, he's buff, he's strong, and all that stuff, but like Chris also has his days numbered in this universe, and it's crazy. It's like we saw these characters when they were young and in their prime, and now we're seeing them slowly, like getting old and things like that, and we're so attached and connected to these characters. We all love them and enjoy it. Look, that last CG movie that they did, which one was it? I can't remember right now. What was it called? Not Vendetta, the most recent one that they did, and you have all of them in there. You got Leon, Claire, Chris, you have Jill, you have Rebecca, you have them all. I was like, damn, that's the Resident Evil game that I want for one big epic conclusion. Like if they were to do that in this game, like I know that Resident Evil is gonna keep on going after Resident Evil 9, but we know the characters in due time they're all gonna come to an end and stuff like that. But make them go all out, like badass, like just go all out with like a bang, and it's crazy, it's crazy. Yeah, you're 42 and feeling like a kid. Yep. Look, man, when I was playing the first Resident Evil, I was in high school, man, and oh man, I remember I first let me share a story with y'all real fast about Resident Evil. It was sometime in high school. I had a friend. He lived down the street from me, literally, like probably like 2 or 3 houses away from me. We met in the bus going to school, and I saw he had this game for PlayStation. We're talking about the first PlayStation. And I said, let me see that game. He showed it to me, and I saw it, Resident Evil. I was like, what is this? He's like, oh, I don't know. It's about like zombies and stuff like that. And, it's like some type of horror game. I was like, oh, damn, let me check it out. So he came over. We played it. We became real good friends. And he let me borrow it for like a week. I played that game. I got hooked day and night playing it, and it was scary. You get what I'm saying? We're talking about the first PlayStation with the shitty graphics, but it was scary for its time. And like I couldn't play that game alone because it was just creepy. That's what I loved about it for some strange reason. And then time passed. We got Resident Evil 2. I remember when I went to Toys R Us and they had the demo back then, 1998. And walking in as a kid, I was like, what is that? And I saw it there, Resident Evil 2, with that red and silver logo. And you can actually play it because back then you could actually play the games with the demo and stuff like that. I remember when I played it, I was hooked. I was like, I have to get this. And now we're talking about, I think it was what? We're talking about now PlayStation 2 already. And I was like, I got to jump on this. And I got it. And I remember when Resident Evil 3 came out, the same thing. My mom got it at Walmart. I think it was on sale. And I played it, fell in love with it. Same thing, and I've been hooked ever since. And here we are. Look at that. It's amazing to say that I'm still around to see what the beginning of Resident Evil was to where it's at right now. Graphics, the fans, the movies, how it's gotten so big. It's amazing, like I'm gonna be real with you. That's just a teardrop, because it's like, wow, us fans growing up seeing it from that time. And if you're new and you're just getting onto the Resident Evil train in the sense of you're jumping, on the bandwagon with everybody and stuff like that, good. Go check out the old Resident Evil stuff. See what Resident Evil used to be and what it's become. And you're going to see it. You're going to like it. Hopefully, you like what it was. And this is what I like about this new one because, again, it's like they're going back to their roots. And it's like, all right, how can we do this for the player with the new generation, but at the same time, staying true to what Resident Evil used to be? Because, of course, you have zombies, the survival horror, and, you just have to survive. And now we're seeing, you know, this new character right here, Grace. the daughter of Alyssa, that she's from Resident Evil Outbreak. Outbreak was a huge game back in its day, and it was ahead of the game because they were doing online games before anybody else was really doing it. Capcom was ahead of the game. And if they were to do an Outbreak game today with the technology, with all this live stream and how everybody's able to play around the world, I know they try to do it with that other game. I forgot what it was called, Resistance, I think, or something like that. I have the game. I've never played it. I didn't even care about downloading it till this day. And look at how long Resident Evil 3 came out. That's the one that it came out with it with the bonus or something like that. I'm just not interested. And now they're gonna shut down the servers. It sucks, but who knows what they're doing and what they're gonna go about with that. So whatever it is, I'm excited for this, and this is actually something that's really, really like, this has everybody on edge right now. Like, everybody's excited. That's the best part about it. Resident Evil 9, who would have thought? That just came out of nowhere. I know when they were announcing something, I know somebody had posted that. I was like, I highly doubt. This was me, honest. I was like, I highly doubt that it's going to be anything with Resident Evil 9. Man, was I proven wrong? Damn, I'm proven wrong, and I'm happy. Honestly, like, I can admit to it. I'm not gonna say that I'm not. And being able to see this is dope. This is completely dope. Honestly, and all they have to do is just straight up just give us what we want, and that's exactly what they're doing. And like, this is insane, man. Being able to see this Resident Evil game, and I want to play the footage, but like I said, I don't play it just because I don't want to get copyright strikes. And I know these companies are coming out after channels and stuff, and Capcom is one of them. So I ain't trying to risk it. But man, if you haven't seen the trailer, go see it. Honestly, your cousin introduced you to Resident Evil, couldn't play at the age of 12, had to sneak it to play it. Yeah, a lot of people had to do that. I remember hearing that in school when people would say that, like, "Nah, I had to sneak it to play it and stuff like that." Because this is a hardcore game. Honestly, it's very, very intense, and in the sense that, like, man, like, you play that game on your own, it's gonna have your high blood pressure going up. Like, you're like, yo, I don't got high blood pressure, but this game's gonna give you anxiety, high blood pressure, stress, but in a good way, just because that's how fun it is. That's what these games are missing, honestly. And that's honestly something that's I just can't wait, honestly. And it's gonna be a fun time. It's right now from. I know we're gonna be getting more trailers and all that stuff, especially at the Game Awards later this year. That's like sometime in December. For sure, we're gonna be seeing a lot more footage and stuff like that. Probably more reviews, more leaks. Who knows what the hell? But seeing it, damn, like, I'm really excited about this. Really, really excited that we're getting this, because this is completely interesting. And as a longtime Resident Evil fan, it's amazing. It's completely amazing to see how all this is going and stuff like that. So being able to to really see what Capcom is putting together and putting, for us and stuff when it comes to this Resident Evil franchise. Who would have thought? In out of all the games, 9 games. Like, I'm privileged to still be around, be able to see this. It's like, hopefully I'll still be around to see Resident Evil 10. Hopefully we get a Code Veronica remake. I know some fans were making it, but Capcom, they came after them and they gave them a cease and desist. So it happens. It's like, when you have these companies that they do that, it kind of sucks. But I mean, it's their IP. They can do what they want. That's their IP. And this is going to be insane. Like, damn, like, everybody's just right now talking about this. This is incredible. Like, it's completely, completely incredible. It's like they're going back to their roots. That's what I see, and that's what this franchise needs. Because Resident Evil 8, I'm gonna be honest with you, I saw gameplay and stuff. It sucked. It just sucked. 7, it sucked. I know a lot of people liked it, and they sold copies, but it just wasn't Resident Evil for me. That wasn't like Resident Evil. Resident Evil has always been, and it stops for me at Code Veronica. Resident Evil 4, that wasn't even Resident Evil, honestly. I know that a lot of people like it, the fans. It just, they shifted. It just, they got away from what Resident Evil used to be. The heart of Resident Evil is in Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1 with Spencer Mansion, Resident Evil 2 with the police station, 3, Nemesis, and the remake, if you like that one too. They cut so much content from that one. And Resident Evil Code Veronica. After that, I they lost me as a fan, and now seeing this, I'm like, yo, we're back. Like that's all I care about. Like are those zombies that I'm seeing in the trailer? Those look like mutated liquors. I was like, hell yeah, now we're talking. Like it's always been about BOWs, bioorganic weapons, those tyrants, those mutants, and all that stuff. I really hope they go back to that, honestly, because that's badass. See, that's part of Resident Evil. It's always been there. Like how do you get away from that? Yeah, you wasn't a fan of Resident Evil 7. Yeah, I really didn't like that, man. Honestly, when they announced Resident Evil 7, I remember that. I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, this is not Resident Evil. It just wasn't. For me, it wasn't. I was like, what the hell is this? You know? 5, it was just pure action. 6 was like they were trying to go back to the roots, but they just didn't know how to, and they wanted to go forward with action. It felt like the Fast Saga. Resident Evil 4, 5, 6 literally felt like it was the Fast and the Furious. They had no idea what they were doing during that time. It's like they were just literally trying to make money and milk the name of Resident Evil. And then 7, I didn't even play 7, honestly. To this day, I don't care about 7. They had it for free on the PlayStation Network. I didn't even care about getting it because I just don't care. It wasn't appealing to me. Resident Evil 8, when I saw that whole thing, like, I was like, yeah, this is not for me either. Now, this Resident Evil 9, now we're back in business. I'm like, yo, like, I'm ready to get this. Like it's going back to like what Resident Evil was about. And I hope they don't let us down, honestly. And I have a feeling that not that this is gonna be the last one because this is not, but I have a feeling something big is gonna happen in this game, and it's gonna involve one of the original characters. I hope it's not that, but I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen. And if they do that, so be it. They have to do it. Eventually, they're gonna have to end these characters, and we know they're not gonna be around for every single game. It's like how much more longer do you think Leon can take this, or Jill, and then you have what's his name? Uh, Dude, I can't remember his name right now. Claire's brother, Chris. It's like they can't fight these BOWs anymore. It's like they have to pass it to the next generation and stuff like that. So who knows? Who knows? We're gonna see what's gonna happen. This is gonna be interesting. I honestly, as a fan of Resident Evil, I'm excited for this, and it looks really, really solid. Just seeing how everything that they have for this game, it's looking like, oh man, like this is the Resident Evil that we finally deserve after all these years. And after playing the remakes, I mean, that's where the heart is. Like I said, it's always been like that. And being able to play, with all these characters and seeing their journey now, is their journey going to come to an end? I think it is, you know, and who knows what's gonna happen in this one? Is this gonna even connect with Resident Evil 8? We have no idea. Like I said, this brought me back again to the brand of Resident Evil. Like I'm excited, I'm pumped. Everybody's right now talking about this. This right now is just trending. Resident Evil, and uh, this is Resident Evil 9. Period. That's how I'm taking it. And fans everywhere rejoice because this is our time. And once again, we're eating good as Resident Evil fans and Capcom fans. And Capcom has been dropping some good stuff lately. It's like they're putting out a lot of good content out lately, and that's good. I see that they're doing a lot of collections and stuff like that, with their games and things like that. We just got one with Marvel versus Capcom. I think there's another one too with that, and that's pretty dope. It's amazing to see all these things. I know Marvel Legends has just announced the Marvel versus Capcom line, and that's pretty dope. Those went up for pre-sale today, and they sold out in literally like less than like 5 minutes. I was gonna try to get like a set, I couldn't because it sold out. I was like, that's crazy, but it just shows you, it's summertime, everybody's on vacation, all the kids, people that are in college, they're all on vacation, taking their break, enjoy, rejoice. Look at this, starting off summer, and they're starting off strong. This is dope. This is pretty dope, and I'm excited. I'm really excited. Hopefully, it's going back, and from what I think it is, speculating, I think that Capcom is going back to the roots with the Resident Evil brand and everything that they're doing with this IP. And I'm here for it. I'm interested. We know that I think it's what next year. I think they're putting out a new movie also that they're doing that reboot or they're gonna start filming or something like that. So that's another thing too that's gonna be exciting. And while we're on the topic with the movie and Resident Evil in general, the director from that movie, like I said recently, he made I can't remember what it's called now, but it's on Tubi, some horror movie. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. There's a movie he just put out, and I was like, damn, this has a lot of Resident Evil inspiration vibes. And I didn't know that he was the one that's gonna be directing the new Resident Evil reboot. And I'm like, oh damn, okay. So they're putting out good stuff lately. And I'll be real with y'all. Resident Evil right now is starting to pick up a lot of steam, and I'm glad. I'm glad because we need it, Because I'm be honest, I like The Walking Dead. I like, The Last of Us to a certain point. Not the show because the show is trash. The first season was good, but Resident Evil are the pioneers when it comes to survival horror, and it's time for Resident Evil to rise up again. Honestly, because that's a brand that literally deserves to have its own show. Not what we saw with Netflix, because that one sucked. That thing was terrible, and I don't even know how that even got approved to like literally be put on Netflix. That was the worst Resident Evil thing I've ever seen. And now seeing with this game, going back to its roots, going back to Raccoon City, who knows what the hell they're gonna do? But I'm excited. I'm all for it. And whatever Capcom wants to do, it's gonna better the brand and make their IP much more appealing and interesting. Let's go. That's how I say it, let's go. And let's see what the hell's gonna come from it because honestly, with that last Resident Evil movie, I forgot what it's called. Let me check this out now that we're all just talking because that last Resident Evil movie was pretty good. I know I have it. Resident Evil was the CG. Give me 1 second while I'm looking at it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Death Island. That one has everybody on it, and that was dope. That's dope. That's how they need to do one final game of Resident Evil with all the characters from the OG. Like bring everybody, bring in Barry, bring in Hunk, bring in Billy, bring in Carlos, bring in everybody that's from the Resident Evil, and just go all out. However it ends, let it end. Whoever survives, let them survive. Whoever gets taken out, so be it. It's like thank you for everything, but it's just so much that like it just go all out. This is what Capcom needs to do, and it's just gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to this game, and for sure we're gonna be seeing more reviews and things like that as we get closer and things. Next year is gonna be a big year with gaming because let's not forget next year we have GTA 6 that's coming out in March, and then Resident Evil 9 is coming out literally a month before it because that's interesting. Resident Evil 9 is coming out February 27, 26 or 27 next year, 2026. And then a month later, I think it's like what Memorial weekend or something like that. Right before Memorial, we got GTA 6 that's gonna be coming out. So literally, two games are gonna come out back to back that we're all gonna be enjoying, and that's pretty much starting the year because that's February and March, and that's gonna be dope. That's gonna be dope. Honestly, I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's like, damn. Like I've been rewatching this trailer. I've probably seen it already like 7 times, and every time I look at it, I find something new, and like those flashbacks when you see it, pause them and like look through each frame. You could see, of course, Alyssa, Grace's mom on it, that she comes out. This lady right here, where she's at, that one, she comes out on it. You see the flashbacks, and let's see what happens. Let's see how she goes out if they show us, and is this is the daughter gonna connect with Leon, with any of the other characters from the Resident Evil franchise? I hope so, you know. And they need to bring back Hunk also, the Umbrella mercenary. That dude's a badass. Hunk, he's straight up, like that's my dude right there. And let's see. I'm excited. Like words can't express how excited I am for this game. Hell yeah, hell yeah, man. It's like it's gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. I can't wait. Damn, finally they're doing this. Because I'm be honest with y'all. Resident Evil 8, I just wasn't feeling. Like they had werewolves, they had vampires. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, and then it's like most of the time it was just nothing but the meme with that lady. What's her name? Lady D, big tall lady. So many memes to this day. And I'm like, damn, what the hell has Resident Evil become? And let's see. Hell yeah, that's Mr. Death right there. Hunk, I'm telling you, man, like they need to do games specifically with him and not like a little side quest or side game and stuff like we got with the remake. We need a whole full game with him. That's it's a must. And there's so much that they can do with these characters. And I know right now, for sure, Capcom is watching, they're listening, and they're looking at what the fans want, and the reactions that they're getting from this game are incredible right now. Yeah, yeah, I'm live again. Yeah, I know I've been off for a few days and stuff like that. I've been chilling. I'm being real with y'all. I was kind of like chilling, and then that whole DC stuff. I'm kind of tired right now for the moment. I know I'll keep on talking about it as we get close, and y'all already know and stuff like that. But seeing this announcement today, I was like, you know what? I got to talk about this because everybody's right now talking about it. It's a hot topic, and it's just something I like. It's just you all know the ones that have been following me. If you're not following me, hit that subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Show your boy some support, some love. And I'm a huge Resident Evil fan too. Like I said, like the heart of Resident Evil is in 0, 1, 2, 3, and Code Veronica. I skip 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 just because it's not appealing to me. And now I'm getting back, because Resident Evil 9 looks fantastic. That's it really looks fantastic, It's like it's crazy. Yeah, 8 I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. 7 threw me off. I was like I'm just not interested. 8 threw me off completely. Once I saw they had werewolves and they had like vampires, I was like, yeah, this ain't Resident Evil no more. I was like, they're just milking the name of Resident Evil. But I'm glad that's finally over. Yeah, waste of money. Yeah, even on sale, I didn't get that crap. Not even when it was free on the PlayStation Work Network. Yep. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to everybody too. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's what I said. Like this is pretty interesting, and this is fun. It's like that's what we need. We need good entertainment, and Resident Evil 9, they're gonna have it. I can see it already. I can't wait. This is gonna be completely fun, and like you can see that they're going back to the roots. They're doing something, and they're doing it right. They really are. Yeah, Injustice 3. I think that's what the rumor is that they're working on now, and I can't wait. Honestly, and with the way that and the way that the DC is right now, they need it. It really is. Resident Evil's okay. Resident Evil's awesome. There's just 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 that are not, but everything else it is amazing. It's a nice IP. I've been with them since the start when they were on the shitty PlayStation with those little pixels that were ugly, like the polygons, whatever. Those graphics were terrible, but it was still ahead of the game back then, and look at where it's at now. It's an IP that's gotten so big, and they just need to stay as it started, survival horror, the zombies, the mutations, the evil corporations, of course, Umbrella, and you have Tricell and whatever other corporations they have and stuff like that. Resident Evil 4 remake is better than the original. Okay, cool. I mean, if you enjoyed it and you liked it, more power to you. I can't. I couldn't get in. I didn't play the old ones. I tried it. I couldn't. I for sure didn't play the new ones. I saw gameplay of it, and it's just not my thing. I don't know. It's just too much. Resident Evil 4 is just. I don't know what they went too mainstream with Resident Evil 4. It's like I said, it just got too commercial, and I just wasn't. I wasn't down with it, and they lost me as a fan for a while. I tried seeing the other ones. I was like, yeah, these games are not bringing me back. But this one, man, this right here, I'm on board again. Probably when I end this stream, I'm gonna go watch the trailer probably another good 5 times just to see like it's that good. It's like wow, like I'm really really surprised. Mortal Kombat versus DC, hell yeah, I got it on PS. I think it was a PS3. Oh yeah, they need to make a part two, but I think that's what they're doing injustice because they have some Mortal Kombat characters, which is not enough. But we do need a Mortal Kombat versus DC part two. That's overdue long time ago, And how we're seeing now with the gaming industry, that they're putting out so many games, especially fighters and stuff. Yeah, that's something that they really need to do. The movies, the Resident Evil movies, I'm gonna be real with you. Um, they were not what I expect. I remember when I went to go see the first Resident Evil movie with the Marilyn Manson song, and I remember seeing it. I was like, "Damn, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be like the game." When I saw that movie, I walked out of that theater. I was so disappointed. I was so pissed. I had all type of emotions going at the same time. I was like, why the hell did they do that? And then at the end, when they finally land with the helicopter that it crashes over in the Arklay Mountains, that's where the Spencer Mansion is at. I was like, all right, now they're gonna finally go into the mansion. And guess what? It didn't happen. And in the mansion that they had in it, I was like, this is not the mansion from the game. Like, it's just typical. They rearranged everything. Everything changed. I was like, that's not Resident Evil. All the movies from Paul Anderson sucked. Honestly, they all sucked. The only one that I did like from him was the first and the second. After that, everything went down the drain. And then when we got the reboot, that was back in what I think during COVID, right after COVID, 2021 or something like that. Welcome to Raccoon City. That's the only one that has been the closest to the game. But that movie was rushed. You could see it. They tried to cram Resident Evil 1, 2, and they tried to cram in Code Veronica. I was like, damn, man. Like the director, he did his thing. It was good, but it could have been better. But the thing is, he rushed everything. He should have just focused on one full game and do Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1, setting up and opening the door, leading into Resident Evil 2 with Resident Evil 3, which is Nemesis. That's how they should have gone about. And then at the end, if they wanted to do a trilogy, setting up towards Code Veronica, and then opening the door to Resident Evil 4. That would have been done, and that would have been good right there. But it's Hollywood, and they just know how to ruin everything. So whenever they put out a game, a live action from a game, it's pretty hard to have high hopes. Just because we know, especially when it's live action, it's like, all right, let's see how they screw this one up. you know. So yeah, the Resident Evil movies from Paul Anderson. If you haven't seen those, go check them out. It's completely they're a mess. Like those movies are a mess. I just couldn't. Yeah, his Mortal Kombat movies, they were good. Yeah, yeah. For what they are, they were good. I mean, the 2021 was good because the graphics and in the sense of the cinematography and things. And we have the new one coming out this year, Mortal Kombat 2. I think it comes out in October or something like that. I hope it's a lot better. But again, it's WB and uh, yeah, sometimes I don't even have high hopes anymore for it. But I'm still going to check it out just because it's Mortal Kombat. But we'll see. That's what I'm hoping that the new Resident Evil reboot that they're going to be doing for next year. I think it's about to start production soon or sometime next year. Look into it. That director, I think he's the right one. I really think he's the right one, and hopefully it stays. From what that movie that I saw from him recently, he knows his horror, and if they stick to it, they have something good. They'll be able to like get back with the cinematic universe, if you want to say. But yeah, Resident Evil 9 finally has been announced. This was dope. This was awesome, and what an amazing time it is to be a Resident Evil fan to see this right here. Yeah, WB, they missed the ball and everything. Honestly, they need to reboot DC Studios. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, today we're just focusing on Resident Evil. Probably tomorrow we'll talk about some DC and stuff like that because we really need to talk about that. But yeah, but for today, yeah, we're just really pretty much gonna wrap it up. Appreciate y'all for watching. Resident Evil 9 finally got announced, finally got revealed, and this is where we're at. I'm excited as a fan. I know many of you are excited for it. As always, hit that subscribe if you're new to the channel. Show your support. Drop that comment, all that good stuff, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Y'all stay safe, enjoy your weekend. Catch you on the next one. Peace.